this is Michelle, and I'm here today to share with you my second design team project for Country Craft Creations. I was given the Carta Bella line of Home Again papers, and these papers are absolutely adorable, and I really am loving working with them. Today what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to make the explosion box that I have shared with you, and we're going to make a really super cute explosion box album that is going to be house shaped. So I'm kind of into the kind of fun 3D kind of thing, so you've noticed that, I'm sure. So we're gonna do that, and I'm gonna show you how to create this, and it's gonna turn out really adorable, and I think you're gonna like it. So make sure you go to Country Craft Creations and grab your supplies. Again, this is Carta Bella Home Again, and I'm also using the artisan cardstock from Country Craft Creations in brown and ivory to go with this. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. This album is really kind of cool in that it doesn't take a whole lot of paper. Let me see, I think, where are my notes? So I used 8 of the 12 by 12 brown cardstock pieces, actually only 7, and I'll explain that in a minute. So I only used 7 of the brown artisan cardstock. I used 3 of the ivory cardstock, and I only used 7 pieces of patterned paper to make this album. And then, you know, with the embellishments with the ephemera pack and the stickers and stuff, it's going to make a really super cute album, and it doesn't take a lot of time and it doesn't take a lot of paper, so it's really pretty cool. So let's get started. The first thing we're going to need is some cardstock, and the other thing I should mention is that I will do a cutting guide for this, and the cutting guide will not include a few pieces because they're pretty easy to cut out. So the first 2 papers you're going to need are 12 by 12. I did not obviously put a cutting guide out for that. You don't need to cut it. And for one of the lid options, I did not put a cutting guide out. This is all noted on my blog, and I will have a cutting list, so that will be visible with that. But just wanted you to be aware, if you are going on my blog and you're looking at the cutting guide pictures, there's a few things that will not be mapped out, and there are notes all over the place that will say that, so I just wanted to make you aware of that. I'm going to show you also 2 different lid options, so if you do not want to do the house shaped box and you want to do just a flat box, or I shouldn't say flat box, a plain kind of box shape, then you know, you can do that as well. So I'll show you both things. So the base of the box that we're going to make, the explosion box, you're going to need 2 pieces of 12 by 12 cardstock, and you'll need, obviously, just like I said, 2 of these. And then what you're going to do is you're going to put them in your scoreboard, and we're going to just do a couple scores. We're going to score at 6 inches, and then you're going to turn it, and then you're going to score again at 6 inches, so essentially making this into 4 different sections. And then what you're going to do is you're going to make cut a slit on one of the score lines. And I did that already with this one. So you're basically just going to make 1 slit, and that's all you need to do for both pieces. So real quick, let's go ahead and do that. And when I did this, I went right on the outside edge of that score. So I didn't actually cut in the score line. You don't want to cut the score line out, but you just want to just barely do it. So however it's easier for you, some folks like to use a straight edge and an X-Acto knife. I like to use my scissors a lot of the time. If I can get it in the light just right, the light shows right through, and you can see it. So I hope you can see this. It's just a slight cut, but you're going to cut the whole score line out. So that's all you're going to do with that. And then what you're going to do is we're going to put this together, and you're going to make sure that the score lines are the same direction. So when I put it in the scoreboard, I scored them here. So make sure that your score lines match up. And then the other thing you're going to want to do is make sure that your cut edges are kind of opposite of each other. So I'm going to have the cut edge up here, and then I'm going to have a cut edge down here. And we're going to adhere this square to this square. Now the other thing, I'll show you this in a second, but you're just going to line that up, and you're going to glue that down just like that. Okay, so let's get our art glitter glue. You could use score tape for this if you want, and that's quite all right. However you want to glue this piece together. This makes a nice sturdy base. This will not have any chipboard in this album. Then when you lay this down, just make sure you're not in the score lines. You want to be just like right on the edge of the score lines so that everything folds up properly. Okay, so then I'm going to turn this around, and this is how it's going to lay. It doesn't matter which one's on top at all. Okay, so now you have this piece right here. Okay, then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to need to fill in these spots here in the corners to make this a whole kind of 9 by 9 section. So you're going to need 2 pieces that measure 6.5 by 6. So 2 of those, and then you'll put them in your scoreboard, and you're going to score each one at 1/2 inch on the 6.5 inch side. Okay, so again, 6 by 6.5, and score it on each one at the 1/2 inch side, or at the 1/2 inch mark, I should say, on the 6.5 inch side. All right, so 2 of those. And then what we're going to do is we're going to miter our corners. On both of them. All right, and then I'm going to go ahead on this one, and I'm going to fold and burnish them. And then what we're going to do is we're going to glue them down. Now, the thing you need to remember when we're gluing these things down is that each of these panels basically has 2 squares. So you can see the top one here has 2 parts. And then you can see that the bottom one here has basically 2 sections. Well, these do not have 2 sections. And what we're going to need to do is make these into 2 sections. So the direction that they're kind of flowing is the top's going like this. So this side will need to go down like this. So you're going to want to make sure that the cut edge or the open edge is right here. And I hope that makes sense. So we're just going to basically glue this down right there on this thing, on this panel, and then we're going to open it up. So then that will have that 2 sections in this one piece. All right. I made a model with some different colored paper, and I will show you what this is going to look like really quick. So let me open this up all the way. And I used some different colored papers so that I could show you what this is going to look like. Okay, so let's ignore the yellow for a second. Okay, so this is basically what we have right now. Okay, without this piece. This is what we have. So we have this top section that has 2 pieces, and we have this bottom section that has 2 pieces, and then we need to make a second piece onto this and a second piece onto this. So we are going to just glue those on to that. All right, I hope that makes sense. So we're going to end up with 9 panels, and you're going to have these 2 pieces are attached, these 2 pieces are attached, and again, cut edge, these 2 pieces, the cut edge over here, and then these 2 pieces, the cut edge over here. So you have 2 panels attached by 1 to the middle square. So I hope that makes sense. So then we're going to take these, and we're already folded and burnished, and we're going to use our glue, and we're going to apply some glue to this tab. And then we're going to glue it. This is going to be the outside. So I'm going to turn this over, and this is going to glue right here. Match up your edges on this side and this side. All right, let me grab this. Okay, and then just adhere that down. And then we're going to get our other piece, and then we're going to glue it up here, and then we're going to turn it around again. So this is the inside of the album because of the direction of where the scores are going to go. And I'm going to flip this around so I can see it easier. Going to line that up to the edges. And adhere that down. Open that up. Okay. All right, and glue it down. All right, so we have our base box piece done. We need to fold and burnish some more edges because I did not do that yet. So just fold along the score lines and fold and burnish all the way around. Okay. This is a really, really cute album. And I know explosion albums have been around for a long time, but when I saw this paper and it had that home theme on it, I thought, oh, I really, really, really want to make a box that looks like a home. So that's what I'm doing. And then the papers just lent themselves so nicely to the idea that I had in my head. So I just wanted to show you how to do that. Okay, so this is your base box. Now we're going to decorate the outside panels, and this is going to be where the album is going to be attached to. So that's going to be in the center square. And then when you are ready to fold this up, they'll fold up like this, and then these will wrap around the album, and that's what will keep it closed. And then we'll put our topper on, and it will be a really cute little house looking project. And it does measure 6 by 6, and it's going to be a little bit on the tall side, but it's going to be super, super cute. So that part, that's the base, and it is done. And then what you're also going to need are some pattern papers, and we're going to need to cover all the outside boxes. I did not cover the inside of this with pattern paper because our album pieces are going to be on here, so I didn't cover the center square. And then you're only going to need 1 sheet of cardstock for the outside of the album, because when you fold your pieces up, the parts that flip around are the only ones that are going to need to be covered. Those are going to cover that particular thing. So when the box is folded up, you're only going to have 4 sides showing. So you only need 1 piece of paper to cover the entire outside of the box. You will need only 2 pieces of paper to cover the inside of the box. All right, so I'm going to real quick go off camera, and I'm going to put those pieces on, and then I will be back and I'll show you what it's going to look like. Hi everybody, I'm back, and I just wanted to show you that I have put the pattern papers on the album. You're going to need to cover the inside, the outside squares only. You could cover this one if you wanted to. I just chose not to because that's where my album is going to be. And it only used 2 pieces of cardstock to cover. Each of these squares is cut at 5 7/8 by 5 7/8 because each of these panels are 6 by 6. And then on the outside, you just have to cover the 4 pieces here, and you're done because these will be tucked on the inside. So when you fold this album up, then all of the outsides will be covered. All of the other cardstock will be on the inside, so there's really no need to cover them. Okay, and then when you open it up, it'll fold out. So that's what that's going to look like. So again, just the outside here, and then the 4 here. Okay, I did not cover the bottom of the box. This is already reinforced with 2 pieces of artisan cardstock. It's really pretty strong, and nobody's going to see it because it's going to be sitting down anyway. So I didn't do that. So then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about the lids. So I'm going to give you 2 lid options. For my design team project, I'm going to do the house-shaped roof lid. And then I also wanted to give you a flat lid option just in case you wanted to do that. So let's start with the flat lid option first. This piece is cut 11 5/8 by 11 5/8. And then you're going to take your scoreboard, put it in there, and on all 4 sides, you're going to score at 2 3/4. And then turn it 2 3/4, turn it 2 3/4, and so on till you get all of the sides done. And then we're going to need to cut some notches so that you can actually put this thing together. So I'm going to eyeball it. Well, actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut here first. I'm going to cut on the score line. And then I'm going to just eyeball this and cut it at about 1/2 inch and cut that piece completely out. And you'll see that that's detached up to the corner score line. And then I'm going to just miter those corners. And then that's going to be what I do to attach the sides and create the lid shape. Okay, so we're going to just continue doing that on all 4 sides. So I'm going to cut that straight up. And then I'm going to turn this and I'm going to eyeball it at about 1/2 inch. And I'm going to cut that section completely out. And again, miter the corners. All right. So I'm going to do that to that side, and then I'm going to do it to this side as well. All right. So again, cut the side up. And this is a nice option if you're using, you know, you want to make any other kind of, you know, box that's not a home shape. So this will, you know, obviously take up a little less room in your, you know, craft room or your shelf or whatever. So it is a different option. And I wanted to just give that to you so you could have the choice. In the cutting guide that I created, I have, this is not listed in the cutting guide because it's a 11 by 5/8 by 11 5/8. So you're only going to get one thing out of that 12 by 12 piece of paper anyway. The other thing that I did was I have options for all the mats that I used in this album. So depending on which roof option you pick, you will have different options for your how to cut your mats. And I probably will show you that super quick at the end of the video. I hope I don't forget to do that. Sometimes I get done with my videos and I think before I do it that I'm gonna make sure I tell you guys something, and then I get done with the video and then I remember I totally forgot, and then it's too late. So I hope I remember. All right, so we're gonna fold and burnish all of those score lines. All right, so you should have a piece that looks like this. Okay, so the outside and the inside, and then you're simply going to fold these up and you're going to glue them down on the outside. Now, the reason why I'm having you glue it on the outside is because I don't want anything with these tabs interfering with the box itself when you put it on. It's one more layer of something that you'll have to go past in order to put the lid on the box. So when you put your patterned paper on these pieces, it's going to cover that up. You're not going to see it. So that's why I do that on the outside of the lids. I don't want anything on the inside of the lids, you know, to cause a problem. Okay, so that's what I'm gonna do. So then you just simply put the glue on the tabs and then match that up and glue it down. And that's all there is to making this lid. Okay, so this is what I'm calling the flat lid option. And then just match up those score lines and pinch it down. Make sure you get a good stick. Okay. And then you can cover this with pattern paper. I did not cover it on the inside, again, to help with less layers that you have to go through in order to close the lid and get it around your album. That didn't set right. There we go. But I did, you know, you can cover the outside with pattern paper. And I'll give you those measurements here real quick. I just cut them, you know, 1/8 of an inch smaller to cover the pieces. So the lid here, all right, so there's your lid right there. So this top here is, I do that every time, I never get my ruler on right the first time. Okay, so this measures 6 1/8 by 6 1/8. So I would cut my pattern paper at 6 by 6 to cover this. And then the sides here are 6 1/8 by 2 3/4. So I would cut it at 6 by 2 5/8, the pattern paper to cover those. All right. So then if we grab our box, I'll show you. This will look like wow, I am doing a good job today trying to get this closed. I always get nervous on video. It never looks this clunky when I'm by myself, that's for sure. Okay, so then this goes over the top of your box, and there you have it. So that's what that's going to look like. Okay. So a nice flat lid. It's, you know, the top's a little bit bigger. That's going to help accommodate for the pattern paper, and slip it on your box nicely. But there you go. And then if you wanted to do some sort of a closure type thing for this box, a really nice big piece of ribbon tied at the top and a beautiful bow will help keep it all together. And then you can just simply slip it off, you know, use the bow like a belly band kind of thing, and then open your box, and there you go. There's your album. All right, so that's the flat lid option. Now, let's work on the roof option here. So again, when I was looking at the papers, I thought these are so stinking cute and they're so homey that I wanted to really kind of play up the home theme a little bit. So I worked out this this lid, and it turned out pretty cute. So the roof lid option, you need a piece that's 7 1/8 by 12. And on the 7 1/8 inch side, you're going to score at 1/2 inch, and then you're going to turn it and score it at 1/2 inch on the 7 1/8 inch side. And then you're going to turn it to your 12 inch side, and you're going to score at 2, at 6, and at 10. Okay? And that's all you're going to do for scoring for that. So this part here, we're going to miter all of the corners because this is going to turn into a roof. It's going to have a peaked top, and it's going to be really cute, I think. So, so we're going to cut out all of the corners and make these all tabs, because these tabs are going to attach the front and the back roof pieces to the lid. So we're just going to real quick snip those out. And then it'll be easier to cover this part with pattern paper before we do any attaching. And this part here, we're going to do some pattern papers first because, no, we're not. We're going to do that. We're going to do some of them now and some of them later. That's what we're going to do. Okay, so we have this piece here. We're going to fold and burnish all of the pieces. Now we may have to tweak these tabs a little bit, but this will give us a good start for getting the lid on and getting the front and the back attached. So bear with me here. So we made our scores. We cut the corners. We mitered our corners, and now we're going to burnish everything. Fold and burnish. Open this up, and then these all fold in the same direction. So we're just going to do that. And I'm going to do that. All right. So then pattern paper on these pieces here. So I have that. Now the other thing I did do, see, look at how cute this pattern paper is. So we used wood on the outside of the box, and then there was a darker wood grain that we're going to use for the roof. This is going to be like super cute. So I just again cut these pieces at 1/8 of an inch smaller than what I need to cover these. So this right here measures 6 1/8 by 2, and this panel here measures 6 1/8 by 4. So this will be 6 by 3 7/8. You'll need 2 of those, and 6 by 1 7/8 to cover this. So in this pattern paper, I used, I need more glue. I used this darker wood grain for the roof because I just thought that was going to be so cute. Okay. So again, we will put that down. Okay. Then we'll do this. I might have to go off camera and get more glue because I think I'm running out. Trying to get it to the last drop. I love this artisan, or this artist art glitter glue. I love it. I just love it. It's amazing. It dries fast. Okay. Now the other thing too, you could also, which I think I'm going to do, is use a really pretty bow around this project to keep it closed, and then tie the bow a little bit off to the side on this roof, because I think that would kind of mimic a cute little chimney type thing, and I think that would be adorable. So I'm probably going to do that. Okay, last piece here. All right. So again, in the cutting guide, there are notes all over the place. If you do the roof option, there's a cutting guide for that. If you do the flat top option, there's a cutting guide for that. You don't need to cut out both because obviously you only need one lid. So whichever one you choose to do, they're both actually pretty simple. The roof one's a little bit more fiddly, but we're going to go over that. There we go. All right, so that part of the roof is done. And if I can get it, so it's going to sit like this and create the roof piece. Okay, all right, so then what we're going to do is we're going to get our roof front and back pieces. So these will go, when the roof is like this, these will go right here. And we're going to need 2 pieces that are 6 1/8 by 4 1/2. Right? 6 1/8 by 4 1/2. It's going to turn into a shape that looks like that. So we're going to do some cutting. It's really easy. The first thing you're going to want to do is grab a pencil and a ruler, and you're going to want to measure this up 2 inches and make a tick mark on each side. Okay, so sorry about my head. I'm going to measure up about 2 inches and make a tick mark. You could also, if you have a mat that, you know, has the measurements on it, you can use that to make your tick marks. okay? And then you're going to want to find the middle of this. Now this is 6 1/8. So it's going to be like 3 1/16. So you just use your centering ruler and make your little tick mark right there, okay? So 2 inches up, tick mark on each side, and then find the center. And then all you're going to do is draw a line like that. And then you're just going to simply cut that off. And that's going to make your marks. Okay, so 2 inches up, tick mark, 2 inches up, tick mark, and then right in the center, and then connect that center to the outer edge. Draw your line, and then just simply cut it off. And then that's going to give you your roof pieces. Okay, so we have that. And now what we're going to do is we're going to put our pieces together, and again I'm going to put the tabs on the outside because I really don't want anything interfering with the closure of the box, especially on the bottom here. I don't want anything interfering with that box and maybe fussing with the papers and stuff. So this is just going to simply adhere all the way around, and again we're going to have to be a little bit might have to make a few little minor adjustments with the miters, but I don't think we will, okay? So I'm just going to go on this back side here, and I'm going to need more glue. Ah! Don't you love it when that happens? Come on now. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to put my glue there, and then I'm just going to line up the point of the roof on that tab, and I'm going to stick that down. We're going to cover this with pattern paper, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. Okay, and then you're just going to fold it around and then adhere all those panels down, and that's going to be your roof box top. And then just fold that and bring that up on the outside, and then you can push it down and then get a good stick there. Okay, so now you should have a piece that looks like that, and we're going to be okay. We're not going to have to fiddle with the mitered corners, and then we're just going to attach that. So let's do that. Make sure it's nice and lined up. The other nice thing too is that, you know, it looks like it might be a little hard to do, but it's not. The box is big enough to where you can really get in there and, you know, use your hands and get that in there. So. And then the art glitter glue gives you time to readjust should you need it. Okay. So there's one side done. Okay, then we're going to do the other side. Same thing. We're just going to put some glue on the tabs and kind of wrap it around on the other side. Just want to make sure. Sorry for my gray hair if you're seeing that. All right. Get that first one down. Okay. I'm going to swing that in a little bit. Go. Put the glue on the tab here. Definitely need a new bottle here real soon. Okay. Okay. Fold that up. And then on the outside tabs here, Come on, glue. Okay. We're going to fold that up. And check the inside and make sure I'm lined up really well. And I am. Last one. So that's pretty simple. It looks pretty complicated, but it's not. It's actually pretty simple to do. The hardest part was figuring out all the dimensions and how to put it together, but now that I got it figured out, it worked out pretty good. All right. We last left off and with the roof. We've got the roof completely done, except for the pattern paper. So this is what it's going to look like. And then if we put our pattern paper on, let's do that real quick, and then we'll put it on our house, and I'll show you what that's going to look like. Our box. So you're going to need 2 pieces of pattern paper to cover, and they're going to need to measure 6 by 4 3/8. And you're going to do the same thing that you did with the cardstock piece, but you're going to do a little bit different measurements. So again, the pattern paper to cover the roof is going to be 6 by 4 3/8 tall, and you're going to measure up 1 7/8 inch this time and make your tick marks, and then find the middle, which would be 3. Then you'll draw your line and you'll cut it just like we did before. So let's go ahead and do that. So you can see, where's my pencil and my ruler. All right, so 1 7/8 right there. 1 7/8. I'm going to make sure I did that correct. I did. And then the midpoint here would be at 3. Okay. And draw my lines. And then I also find it easier if I put the point of my pencil on the first line, and then I can kind of rotate the ruler to match the other tick mark. And then hold it down and draw a line. Like that. And then we'll go ahead and cut that. Now I also would like to mention that I did ink my edges on this, on all of these pieces. So you can if you want, you don't necessarily have to. So now we have 2 roof pieces that will cover the end of our house box. Okay. And during the break, I also got a new glue bottle, so I won't be complaining about that anymore. Woo! Get that glob. Okay, there we go. And then I'm just gonna stick that on there. When this glue dries, it's going to make this roof nice and sturdy. There we go. And I'm just going to push this down. Okay, just like that. Let's do the other side. So you can see this roof is really pretty easy to do. Okay. There we go. All right. The inside will not have tabs and things to hang up on your book, or on your box, I should say. All right, So it's nice and pretty on the inside. The cardstock is beautiful, and this is nice and sturdy. We're gonna grab our house and we're gonna fold this up. Just like that. And then we're gonna grab our roof. And there you go. Voila! We have our house-shaped box. Is that not cute or what? I think it's adorable. I like it. So you have a nice little house-shaped explosion box. Okay. So now the next thing we need to do is work on our papers for the actual album part. So we're going to do that. And this is really, really, really easy to do. Oh, the other thing I was going to show you real quick. No, I think I already did. Never mind. So yeah, we're going to do our album pieces. This is going to have 10 pages, so you're going to need 3 pieces of, let's see, we're going to need 3 pieces of ivory cardstock because that's going to go on the back of the pages, and then you're going to need, was it 2.5 pieces of pattern paper in order to do the pages, and then you're going to need 10 pieces of cardstock, and these measure 5.5 by 6, and we're going to put all of them in our scoreboard, and we're going to score them at 1/2 inch. So again, you need 10 of those, 5.5 by 6, and we're going to score it at 1/2 inch. So I've already done all of that. I've already cut my ivory cardstock at, these pages are going to be 5.5 by 5.5. So I cut these at 5 3/8 by 5 3/8. And these will layer on the backs of the pages. And the pattern paper is going to be on the top of the pages. So I've already cut those out and I've already inked them. And I've got them ready to go. So I'm going to go off camera and I'm going to put all these on. And then we're going to put them in the book. Okay, so before you can either do it before or after you put your pattern paper on. Probably easier to do it before because then you don't have some layers to fight with. Just go ahead and fold on the 1/2 inch mark and burnish. Do not miter your corners. You don't want to miter your corners. This is going to be a waterfall type album that's going to be in your book. And burnishing, or excuse me, mitering the corners, not necessary. Okay, so I'm going to finish this up and go off camera, and then I'll come back when they're all done, and then I will show you how to put them in our book. All right, I'm back, and I have all of my pages for the mini album part of this box done. So they all have pattern paper on the front, and then on the back side will be ivory artisan cardstock. So you have plenty of room for pictures. There's 10 of these, and again, these pages measure 5.5 tall by 6 wide, and then each of them are just scored at 1/2 inch, so that you can attach them to the base of your book. Now, I did not put pattern paper on this, but you can if you want to. I just chose not to. Since this is going to cover a vast majority of this, I just decided not to do that. So, but if you want to, yeah, go ahead and do that right now before you put the pages down. And so let's get started. And I'm going to double check because I want to make sure. Okay, so I'm going to orient my album like this. So I'm going to put my pages down so that they open like this. What I'm going to do first, though, is I'm going to measure 3/4 inch in from the score line here. And I'm going to put a light pencil mark, and that's going to help guide me to put my first placement down and then put the pages down. So when you do that, then we'll start at 3/4 inch, and we'll go ahead and start laying them down. And then do it waterfall style, okay? We've all seen this before. So again, don't miter your corners at all, okay? You don't want to do that. And then we're going to go ahead and put our glue down, fold that down, and I'm gonna eyeball it to center it top to bottom. It's about 1/4 of an inch top to bottom, and then we put that pencil line 3/4 of an inch from the score line here. Okay, and then just open that up, and we'll just keep going. Then when you line this up, you're just gonna butt it up against the last one that we just put down, and then open it up, make sure it sticks down really good, and so on and so on. And then also we're gonna do the last page a little bit different. I like to do it the opposite direction, so that way you have a nice folded edge on both sides. And if you have seen that before, then you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't seen that before, then I will explain what I'm talking about. Okay, so I'm just lining that up to the edge, making sure that's nice and straight, and I'll stick it down. Okay, so then you can see, let me move these, you can see that they'll show the pattern paper when the book opens, and then you'll see a cascade of the pattern paper. It's going to be really pretty. And the thing I like about this album, it has a lot of wow factor to it, but it also doesn't use very much paper, which is kind of nice. I made a mess out of that. All right, so I'm going to line it up, cut edge there, lay it down. There we go. So it's super pretty. And then the ivory cardstock, I think, really sets it off as well. A little color contrast, and it just worked perfect for this album and for this paper line. I just really think this paper line is pretty. And like, look at the trucks. They're just adorable. All right, we are almost there. Just a few more pages. So the pages measure 5.5 by 5.5, so it gives you a nice place to put the pictures. Okay. A couple more, 3 more to go. While I'm thinking of it, I'm going to be part of the Country Craft Creations New Year's Eve crop, and I am going to have a video available, and it's going to be really a fun thing. I did it last year as a not as a participant in it, but you know, or as a designer, I should say, but and it was really, really fun. This year I get to do it as a designer, so it's gonna be kind of fun. And I've got a really cool project that I think y'all are gonna like. So go on Country Craft Creations and look up the information for the New Year's Eve crop, and we'll have more details about when our tutorials and what the tutorials are going to be and everything in a little bit. So we're on the last page here. So we already have, this is the end, it's hard to see, but right here is the end of this last page. And we have 3/4 of an inch between the score line and that last page. And I'm going to put this one on backwards. So before we just kept, you know, moving down. This one we're going to adhere directly to the top of that last score. And if I can get, let me grab this piece of paper. So there's the edge of that last page, the 1/2 inch tab that attaches it. We're going to put this last page directly on top of that tab. And when we do that, we're going to, of course, make sure we're not in the fold. We're going to lay that down. And then when we do that, when we fold this page up, the end of it, we still have our 3/4 of an inch space, but we have a nice folded edge to our page. So you have this nice area without a tab sticking out, just like you do at the beginning. right here. Okay, so that's why I put it on backwards. It makes it just look more finished. Okay, then to decorate this a little bit more, you could always, well, let's turn it the right direction. Okay, so this is how it's going to look in the album when you open it up. This is going to be the front and the back. Again, a nice finished edge here with the fold, because the tab is actually adhered on top of the tab of this previous page. Okay, so there is our album. So the next thing we're going to do now is just decorating. My concept was to put more photo mats on all of these 8 pages that surround the mini album, which gives you even more opportunity for pictures. But this is the base of the album, and from here on it's decoration and making it pretty and personalizing it how you want it. And I just think that this is a really cool project, and I think you're really, really going to like it. It's fun, it's easy, and it's very quick to put together. I could see that this would look really, really cute in Christmas papers. It could be a really cute gingerbread house. I just think it's a really cute little album. But I hope you enjoyed the video. If you know, as always, if you have any questions or anything, please let me know. I'm more than happy to answer questions. Sorry, I'm trying to sit down and do this and close it all at the same time. There we go. Okay, so there it is. And then our rooftop box goes on. And there you go. There is your Home Again Explosion mini album. So there you go. I hope you liked the video. Please let me know if you did. If you have any questions, let me know. I'm always happy to answer questions. And thank you again for watching. And I look forward to seeing you again real soon. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye. Hi everybody, it's Michelle, and this is the addendum to my video tutorial. I'm going to show you how I made the tray that I presented my house-shaped explosion album in. So I just wanted to, I'm going to show you how to make this. I know I talked about it in the video where I did the show and tell on the explosion box that I did. We're using the Home Again line from Cartabella. And I told you how to do it, but then I just thought, I'm just going to show you how I made this. So if you wanted to make this little presentation tray, then you can. And so I'm just going to go ahead and get started. It's really super quick and super easy. So let's just get started on that. So all you basically need is a piece of paper that's 9 by 9, and I put it in my scoreboard here. And I scored it on 1/2 inch on each side. Okay, so all 4 sides. This tray is only going to have a 1/2 inch lip to it, I guess you could say. We're essentially making a box, you know, but it's going to be a very shallow box. Okay, so just take your 9 by 9, score it on 1/2 inch on all 4 sides, and then we're just going to simply do the cuts to create tabs that'll hold the sides up. All right, now I'm using a piece of scrap cardstock to show you how to do this. So it's a little flimsy. If you use artisan cardstock, it's going to be more sturdy, okay? But I kind of like the fact that when I did the tray, it turned out kind of a little crooked. It wasn't quite perfect. I kind of liked that. It just made it, I don't know, kind of real, I guess. I don't know how to describe it. But the artisan cardstock definitely will be a little bit more sturdy for this. So when I do this, I'm just cutting up the side, and then these little 1/2 inch tabs, these little 1/2 inch squares that are created with the scores, I'm just angling the cut just to make the little tab. Okay, so then once you do that cut, then you're gonna grab everything. We're gonna fold and burnish, and then we're just gonna glue those tabs so that the sides will stick up. Okay, so let's real quick do that. thought I had time real quick. I'll do this real quick, and then I'm going to add it to the video, and then I'm going to hopefully get everything ready to go by the end of the week. So there you go. All right, so now that all the sides are scored, then basically all I did was I took some glue. I'm just going to make sure that they're scored really well. Took some glue, and we're going to glue the sides up, and then I'm also going to grab my little clips here because I use these to help so that we can move on to the next part of this. So just put a little dab of glue on that little 1/2-inch piece and line up the edges to create your side. And then I'm just going to clip that so it'll hold. We're going to do that all the way around. Hold that for just a second. Okay. So this is really just for a presentation kind of thing. But I did also, once I got the tray built, I cut a piece of chipboard. This inner tray will measure 8 by 8. I cut it at 7 7/8 by 7 7/8. And then, so I took the chipboard and then I just layered a piece of cardstock on top of it to create the grass feel. So I did that, okay? When we sit our box in here, the box is going to be 6 by 6. And when you butt it up against the back of this, it's going to give you this nice front yard that you can decorate with flowers. And then like this, I used one of the cut-aparts that said welcome on it. Or not a cut-apart, excuse me, it was an ephemera piece. It said welcome on it, and I thought it made a perfect welcome mat that went in front of the house that you'll see when I did the show and tell. So anyway, it will give you a nice inch on each side and then a couple inches at the front so that you can decorate it really nice. So the chipboard in the bottom kind of gave the bottom a little bit more strength. All right, so we're gonna just put this to the side, let it dry, and then we're gonna get these pieces. Now, these pieces, and of course I put everything away. And I apologize, I wore the wrong bracelet. Let me take that off because it's making noise and it's bugging me. So I'm sure if it's bugging me, it's bugging you. Okay, so I used my Tim Holtz on the edge die, and it's a fence. And I cut out pieces, and I believe it took 6 pieces. So I'm hoping that I was right, and I cut out 6 pieces of these. And I cut the strips at 1.5 inches, and I lined them up on the die where it was just at the top of the fence pieces. And that gave the perfect measurement down here. And then all I did was, they're all, you know, they come out like this. So I took them and I alternated them. So when you cut them out, you're going to get a piece that looks like this. And I turned it over because these pieces, the bottoms of them lined up really nice, and the tab right here lined up really nice. So all you have to do is just glue them together and then just alternate them back and forth. So I just put a little dab of glue here and a little bit of glue here, and then I just stuck that down. Okay? And then I just made one real long strip. And then the other thing that I did was I tried to measure or make them line up on the line on my cutting mat here, just to try and keep everything as straight as I possibly could. So we're just going to keep going and doing that. It's going to make a nice, fun little kind of wonky fence, which I really liked. Okay, so we'll just keep going, Gonna try and get everything as straight as I possibly can. And then the other thing too is you can decorate the outside of the fence if you wanted to. You could put other little flowers on the outside of it. You could put flowers that kind of wind through the fence. The other thing that I did was I wrapped ribbon around the base of the fence because I had this perfect ribbon that had ivy on it, and it just looked really, really cute, and I thought that that matched perfect with this. Okay, so just gonna do all that. And this piece will get kind of long, but we want it that way because we need to make sure that it wraps around the base of the tray. Okay. One more and we'll see. I think that will work. If I counted right, it took 6 of these, so hopefully I didn't flub that up. I hope I didn't flub that up. Let's see, does that fit better? Nope. Flip it over just like I thought. Okay. Now, you could also, if you have a Cricut or a Silhouette, they have cut files that you could use and create the fences that way. So whatever, you know, you want to use. Okay, so we got our pieces. Okay, and so then the next thing to make your life a lot easier is to put some score tape on this so that we can wrap it around. So now if you're going to do a ribbon like I did, I would put score tape strip on the whole thing on the front and the back. So I'm just going to put the score tape on. So one side will adhere to the box and one side will do the ribbon, hold the ribbon in place. Okay, just like that. And then one more, and then the other thing that the score tape will do is it will also help reinforce those joins at the bottom where we glued those pieces together. And if you didn't want to put a fence around this thing, you totally don't even have to do that if you didn't want to. You could just leave it as just a tray, and then you could put flowers all over the outside. You could do that too. So then I'm going to grab my tray and let me take those off. And then I just started on one side, and then I just started gluing it around. I just lined it up, and then when I hit the corner, I tried to pinch it really good to make that corner. Just like that. Okay. Let's see if I did it right. I might have needed one more. We'll find out. Yep. I think I definitely need one more piece. Ah! Doggone it. But you get the gist. So, there we go. Ah, I'm just shy just a little bit. So you need 7 pieces of the fence because I am going to be a little bit off. Okay, but you get the idea. So the other thing we could do is we could pretend that there's a gate, and we could just leave it, and that could be the gate. So anyway, that's basically what I did. Now, if you had another piece here, glue it here, and you just need a short chunk. So I just needed one little piece of section to finish that up. Okay. So yeah, that's what I did. Anyway, that is how I made it. And it's super easy and it's super cute. And it really, I thought it turned out really cute, and it made a nice little presentation for it. So that's how I made it. So again, it goes around. Let me try that again. Again, it goes all the way around on the one that I made for the project, and in the front here, these little stickers came with the collection, and I used it like a gate latch. So if the gate was closed, then that would be the latch. And yeah, that's my project. So that's how you make that base. And again, you needed 7 of these basically, because we had this one little section that didn't quite fit around, but that's how you put it on there. And then when you get your ribbon, then you just take this off and wrap your ribbon around. I tied it in a cute little knot in the front, and then that also helped reinforce the sides, and then you can decorate to your heart's content. So just wanted to real quick show you that's how I made it. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed the project, and let me know if you have any questions. Thanks a lot for watching. All right, bye-bye.